Yes, students, we'll go with the Newton's third law of motion. We have discussed about Newton's second law of motion. And before going into the detail, we can understand what are the things which takes place in and around us. If we go through the flying of birds, that you have seen, the birds, they are pushing their wings downward, and because of this action, the reaction is taking place and the birds are getting upward, flying of birds. Similarly, if we go through the another example, swimming. In swimming, what we are doing, we are pushing the water backward. We are pushing the water backward and the water's action pushes us forward. So if we go through these two examples, it is clear there is some action, and because of this action there is some reaction. Another example, you can see the propulsion of rocket. In the rocket, some gases are burned and they are pushing downwards and the rocket is moving upward. Okay, so there is some action which makes to move it upward, means its reaction is making to move the rocket upward. Okay, so here if we go through these three examples, so Newton's have gone through these observations and it given a law, every action to every action there is always equal and opposite reaction. Means if we say, if an object, if we are having some object, say F, an object, and if there is a force applied, and if there is also a force is applied in this direction, and if it is in balanced position, say if we say this force A and this force we can say FB. If these two forces are equal, but if you see its direction of this force is this direction and another force is acting in this direction, so basically we can say in terms of this, there is a force which is acting in this direction and another force is acting in the opposite direction. So both are equal in magnitude but they are opposite to each other, so it is balancing it. And we can say that FA plus FB is going to be equal to 0. Means because of that there is no motion, both are balanced, and finally what we are getting, if we are applying a force, there is always an action reaction opposite to each. So to every action there is always equal and opposite reaction. Okay. Now here we can take another example. If we have kept a book, we have kept a book on a table, so there will be a force which is exerted by this book and there will be a reaction. So the weight that we can have m into g and there is a reaction which will be normal to it, so they are in a equilibrium position. If we are walking is very, in walking what we are getting, if we are pushing our feet on the ground, there is a force which we are applying, and this force is a reaction and there will be a reaction which makes us to move forward. Now if we can have another example of sandy surface, in the surface where sand is there, if we are moving in the sand, it is very difficult for us to move in the sand. Okay, so there are so many examples that we can have for the Newton's third law of motion. If you observe around yourself, you will come to understand lot of examples are there that you see in your daily life, in everyday life. So you can take any example and you can apply this law, you will come to understand Newton's third law of motion.